For 4 billion years, planet Earth was a nightmare. It wasn't the blue and green paradise we know today. It was a silent, toxic desert of burning lava, sulfur fumes, and barren dust. If you could travel back in time to this era, you wouldn't survive for a single minute. Animals could not exist because there was absolutely nothing to eat, and more importantly, there was no oxygen to breathe. The atmosphere was a thick chokehold of carbon dioxide. But then, about 3 billion years ago, a silent alien invasion began. It didn't come from outer space, it crawled out of the deepest, darkest oceans. A microscopic green organism made a biological choice that changed the history of the universe forever. This is not a boring story about plants. This is the story of the green monsters that literally manufactured our world from scratch. Today, we are going behind the norm of the green apocalypse. Imagine a microscopic cell floating in the ancient sea. This creature, known as cyanobacteria, developed a terrifying superpower called photosynthesis. It began to consume the deadly sunlight and the toxic carbon dioxide, converting them into energy. But its waste product was something completely new: oxygen. For millions of years, these tiny organisms pumped billions of tons of oxygen into the water and the air. It was the greatest pollution event in Earth's history, wiping out almost all other primitive life that found oxygen toxic. But it cleared the way for us. It created the blue sky, the protective ozone layer, and the air you are breathing right now while watching this video. Without this microscopic green slave, the Earth would still be as dead and red as Mars. Every single plant you see outside your window today shared one single ancient ancestor. Whether it is a 100-meter-tall redwood tree in California, a rose in a flower shop, or the grass in a football stadium. They are all cousins. But how did they move from the safe, wet oceans onto the brutal, dry land? About 470 million years ago, the land was still completely empty rock. Then, a tiny green algae managed to get stuck on a wet rock near a riverbank. It survived. It didn't have roots to suck water from the ground. It didn't have leaves to catch sunlight efficiently. It didn't even have a vascular system, meaning it couldn't pump water upward against gravity. It was completely flat, hugging the wet stone just to stay alive. If you want to see what these first brave land invaders looked like, you don't need a time machine. You just need to go to a damp forest and look at liverworts and mosses. These simple plants are the living ghosts of the Ordovician period. They have kept the exact same basic design for nearly 500 million years. They cannot grow tall because they lack the biological plumbing system to transport water. They are forced to remain small and wet. But they were the ultimate pioneers. By clinging to the barren mountains, their tiny chemical acids began to break down solid granite into the very first layer of soil. They were literally manufacturing dirt, creating the foundation for every forest that would ever rise in the future. This brings us to the strangest, most alien chapter in the history of our planet. Plants desperately wanted to grow assignment taller. The higher you grow, the more sunlight you steal from your neighbors. But plants faced a massive engineering problem: they hadn't invented wood yet. Without wood, you cannot fight gravity. So, 400 million years ago, during the Devonian period, the dry land was not ruled by trees. It was ruled by monsters from a nightmare. The dominant living structures on the continents were not green, they were giant, towering spires of white and gray. This organism is called prototaxites, and it was a giant prehistoric fungus. Imagine walking through an ancient landscape where there are no flowers, no birds, and no trees. Instead, the ground is covered in massive, vertical pillars that are 8 meters tall and more than 1 meter wide. They looked like giant organic telephone poles rising out of the mud. For tens of millions of years, these giant fungi were the tallest living things on dry land. Plants looked like tiny, pathetic weeds growing at the feet of these fungal titans. The Earth looked exactly like a distant, alien planet from a science fiction movie. But the plants were secretly preparing a biological counterattack that would destroy the empire of the giant mushrooms forever. Around 360 million years ago, plants achieved a massive evolutionary breakthrough. They invented a revolutionary chemical compound called lignin. Lignin is the ultimate biological armor. It is the molecule that makes cell walls rigid, solid, and waterproof. In other words, plants finally invented wood. This triggered a frantic vertical arms race. Armed with wood, plants shattered the boundaries of gravity. Mosses and ferns, which used to be small mud dwellers, suddenly shot up into the atmosphere, transforming into the first true, colossal forests of the Carboniferous period. These trees grew 40 meters high, completely blocking out the sun and starving the giant fungi into extinction. Because these early wooden forests were so massive, they absorbed historic amounts of carbon dioxide and flooded the planet with unprecedented levels of oxygen. The atmosphere reached 35% oxygen, compared to just 21% today. This high oxygen atmosphere turned the animal kingdom into a nightmare world of giants. Since insects breathe through their skin, this superoxygenated air allowed them to grow to monstrous proportions. Suddenly, the skies were filled with giant dragonflies the size of modern eagles, with wingspans of 70 centimeters. On the forest floor, giant venomous millipedes crawled around, measuring more than 2.5 meters long. It was a planet dominated by giant wooden structures and giant, horrifying bugs. But the invention of wood created another bizarre crisis. When these giant trees died, they fell on top of each other in massive piles. But here is the catch: bacteria and fungi had not yet evolved the ability to digest and decompose lignin. For millions of years, these wooden trees died, but they never rotted. They just sat there, piling up kilometers deep, trapping all that carbon inside the earth. This unrotted wood was crushed by time, heat, and pressure, turning into the exact global coal deposits that we mine today. When you look at the coal used in factories or power plants, you are looking at the literal, unrotted corpses of trees that died 300 million years ago because nature forgot how to decompose them. Eventually, bacteria learned how to eat wood, and the planet stabilized. Plants then went on to invent seeds, flowers, and fruits, creating the colorful world we enjoy today. Animals and humans like to think that we are the masters of this planet. But the truth is, we are just guests. Animals merely react and adapt to the environment. Plants are the ones who actually engineered and built the environment. The next time you walk past a tree or step on some moss, remember that you are looking at the ultimate conquerors of Earth. Thank you for joining me behind the norm of the ancient Green Empire. Keep looking up, but keep your feet on the ground of reason. See you next time.